Let's get started with our coding. The first thing we're going to do is set up an environment where we can work on our code and apply it to a chart. This environment includes adding an advanced chart, finding and launching the EFS text editor where we can write our code, and also displaying the formula output window where we can see some debugging messages to help us with the code. Before we go too far down that route, we're also going to have to rearrange the windows and minimize the unimportant parts of the output. In order to do all this and display some results, we're going to create a simple one-line script and apply it to the chart. If you haven't already done so, now would be a good time to launch the Esignal application. Our first step will be to add an advanced chart that we can then apply a script to. I've added the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now there's already a script applied to this, a study, and it's the volume study. So in order to remove that, I'm going to select Chart Options, Remove All Studies. My next step is to create an environment where I can type my EFS JavaScript code. To do this, you need the EFS text editor for JavaScript. I now have a place where I can type my code. This particular editor has several features that relate specifically to JavaScript, such as code completion, code highlighting, and debugging output. Here's the first command that we're going to try in JavaScript. Go ahead and pause the video as I type this, and type it after me, and let's see if we can get it to work together. The command is called debug print line. Notice that it's case sensitive. The capital P has to be in caps, otherwise it won't work. I'm going to print out the sum of 3 plus 7. Notice the patterns. There's an open parentheses and a closing parentheses, and in JavaScript there's a semicolon at the end of each line. Now that we've got this on our screen, it's time to save it. I'm going to click on the save icon, and EFS will put me in a particular folder, but I need to go to the correct one where most of the JavaScripts are saved, which is in the Esignal Program Files group within the Formulas folder. Since we're going to create a lot of these scripts, we might want to create a new folder just to contain and organize them. I'm going to click on the Create New Folder icon, and we'll call this folder Training. Within that folder, I'm going to name this file ex01_debug println. Esignal will automatically add the .efs extension for me. Now that it's been saved in that folder, I need to apply it to the current advanced chart. So I'm going to go back to that chart, and then in order to apply this, you go to Chart Options, down to Formulas, and you'll notice that it's picked up the list of folders that were in the Formulas folder. Among them, our new Training Formula folder, where we can select Exercise 1 Debug Println.efs. So having applied this study, it shows up here. The results, however, are not visible unless you select Tools, EFS, and we're looking for the Formula Output window. This is where the debug instructions take effect. If I select that and drag the window inside the visible area, you'll notice that Esignal has correctly calculated the output of 3 plus 7. Now let's say I want to make a change to this particular script. To do so, I'm going to close this debugging output window where the debug println commands take effect. I'll have to go back to my script, which is under the window menu, and then I can make a small change such as adding 3 plus 10. So again, I would save it, go back to the chart. Now the study's already been applied to this, but I could select Chart Options. I could either remove it and then add it from this Formulas section, or I can select Reload, which just refreshes the code that's in that saved file. So if I reload it, it looks like nothing has taken effect, but again I need to select Tools, EFS, and then the debugging or formula output window. And there you'll see that the change has taken effect, that now a 13 lies above the 10. In this case, the formula output window contains the output from the script, but it's done in a top-to-bottom fashion, such that any subsequent debug print line commands produce output at the top of this window, pushing down any previous output. If I want to eliminate the output that's in this window, I would right-click on the formula output window, and I have the option to clear, and I select that. There are programmatic ways of doing this, which I'll cover in a moment. Now let's take a moment to make some changes to our interface, to rearrange windows, put them in easier to manage spots so that we can quickly type code, save it, reapply it, and immediately see the changes. To do this, I need to get rid of this chart window as much as possible. I can even remove that menu item, and then I'll shrink it right to the bottom of the screen. I'm also going to take the formula output window and take it and I'll place it at the bottom of the screen. There isn't going to be too much output, so I really want to reserve the balance of the screen for my coding. In this case, we have a command debug print line 3 plus 10, but I could easily change that to some other value and then save it in a second, make that change, and then click once on the chart. Now that the chart is selected, I can reload the study. You'll see that the output is immediately shown up as -3, which is 3 minus 6. And again, I can go back, make a small change, make it 7 minus 6, save it, select the chart, and then reload it again. And you see the output has again displaced the 3 and pushed it downward. I'm going to try to remove this links menu from the chart window. To do so, I just remove it, drag it off, then click on the X to eliminate it. Now again, I can make a small change one of these numbers, save the formula, click on the chart, and select reload that particular EFS script, and you'll see the output again. Take a moment to do this with your own screen. Rearrange the windows so that you can easily type code, save, reload the study, and see the results in the formula output window.